And good morning, Risk Raider fans, Red Raider fans, and anyone else who likes this show and can put their guns up like this.
Oh, that's how we do it?
No,
That's
guns
it.
up
Guns
like
up like
this.
that.
There.
We got to do a
All
little
right.
training session next week.
Yeah, we should have done that training session before. But anyway,
cut a
we are
corner.
very excited today. Jeff, how are you this morning?
Oh my gosh, I am fantabulous. We're going to have a special show today. It's going to be exciting. It's probably going to be a little bit of trouble. Make sure the children are not listening. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be it's not going to be one of those shows, folks. It's going to be a great show. Man, we have got a great guest. A guest that I don't even know, Brent. This is how we have to get guests on. We can't let them meet me first, and we have found that people are much more agreeable to coming on the show if they haven't talked to me. I appreciate that. Thank you, Enoch. You're a saint for being here. Listen, everybody, it's going to be a great show today. I'm going to give you a little disclaimer. That means today's entertainment, today's fun, today's not professional advice. So if you need professional advice on insurance, technology, anything like that, do not call us, because today as Risk Raiders, we're just here to entertain and inform. We're not here to give you professional advice, so call somebody else. Who cares? But anyway, I'm excited, Brent. This is going to get going. I want you to introduce the world to Enoch right now.
So this is my good friend Enoch, and he's really become one of my best friends over the last couple of years. He fell in the door of our Rotary Club. When did you join? About 3 years ago?
About 3 years ago.
Yeah, about 3 years ago. And he's from Kenya, and he came over here to study artificial intelligence and IT and got a PhD in artificial intelligence from University of Houston, and is currently the president of our Rotary Club, and just a great human being. I mean, he's a guy that's very positive and upbeat, and has taught me something about being positive and upbeat and looking at the world in a way that is positive and looking at what you can do instead of what you can't do, and I appreciate that, and it's been very, very good for me to know you, because it's really changed my personality, I think, for the better. And
it really has. Thank you, Enoch. Because frankly, dear God, it was horrible for a while. The viewership dropped.
Brent is kind. If anything, I'm the one who's been changed by being around this great man. I'll tell you, whenever I see him at the Rotary, he is kind, he is thoughtful, and most importantly, he's a friend. I call him a brother, actually. That's the nickname I
we are
him.
brothers, I think.
And that is who he is. And now meeting Jeff is even better.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but we all know. But no,
Yeah.
Listen, you're right. It sounds like everything Brent has told me about you, I've been excited about this show, because he goes, I swear he's the nicest person I've ever met. And for Brent to say that, and I mean this seriously, because Brent knows a lot of people and all that, but when somebody says that, you got to pay attention, because that's somebody who has that much influence on somebody. I think it's exciting to have you on the show. And then he tells me all this stuff about what you know about what you're doing with the AI and all these things. And so you take that personality and you blend it into a helping hand. Man, I think that you sound like you're the recipe for success, my friend.
We are trying to make the world a better place.
He is, and I love and maybe we'll have time towards the end to talk about your charitable initiative that they're doing with the kids in Kenya to use AI to help those kids lift themselves out of poverty, which I think is a neat idea, and I think it can work. It is working. I would say it already is working, don't you think?
Yes, it's working. And taking children who have never touched a computer at all in their life, within 8 months, looking at the computer for less than 30 minutes a day, to whereby they can change their life and be productive, not just be productive, be meaningfully productive while avoiding the danger and the negativeness of AI, which we are about to talk. I think it's a remarkable journey.
Yeah, that is an amazing story, because I think we're going to find in 20 years that you're going to have pulled some people up that are going to be people that are going to change the world, I think. And it'll be from an initiative like this that we get the next Bill Gates and Elon Musk are going to come from places like Kenya, where you're from. They're going to be smart kids that are going to be like, hey, man, I just didn't have a chance. And now, I'm going to burst onto the world stage and change things for the better.
And you say something that is powerful, Brent, changing the world. And sometimes it takes just one person, one idea. For example, this talk show that we are in here, I'm thankful because you are doing what exactly all of us should be doing. And I'm so thankful that for my first actually professional appearance, I came to your show. So this is a big honor. And one of the big changes that I have seen, and if I could tell you a small story, I traveled to Africa. And then I saw a tragedy that took place. Two young men, one of them was hungry and the other one was poor, and both of them are poor. So the one he was a salesperson, so he had some sausages he was selling in the market. And then one of his friends, he came and took the sausage and ate because he was hungry. But then the sausage was less than 2 cents.
Gosh.
So he took his shot and he's like, "Hey, you need to pay me for the sausage. You can't just eat my sausage and walk away like that." And then in that scuffle, he punched him, he fell down, and he died, unfortunately.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then the people around him ended up killing this guy who just killed the other guy. We lost two people
Oh.
because of 2 cents.
Mm.
And I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is an economic disaster. So, how do you fix a situation like this? You fix it with technology. That is the positive side of technology. Think about it. A child like that, if he gets on your podcast, knows how to make content, he can edit videos for you, you will pay him $20 a month. $20 a month, there's so much money. That's $2,000 in Kenya, for example. That will run him the whole 2, 3 months without a problem. So that is why I said, let me teach them these few skills to know that the world is not a small box, it's a village. But then, now that I am studying, I'm actually a PhD student. I've not completed
Oh, I
my
forgot you were
I've
still in
not
the
completed
program.
my PhD yet. I'm almost. Now that I'm doing a PhD in artificial intelligence, then all of a sudden, for example, in the last 6 months, we are in this upward explosion of artificial intelligence. But guess what? It's just like speeding down the street and you don't have a seatbelt. And then if we get into a ditch, what's going to happen? And that is why having this talk today is critically important and is needed more now than ever.
I agree with you 100%. We are really, that's a good way to say it. We're speeding down the street, and boy, I think a lot of us are using it and kind of blindly, not thinking through maybe the answers we're getting and the processes that it's doing needs some evaluation. So, what do you see as the dangers or the things that, as we in risk management, need to consider when we talk about AI with our clients or our friends or our neighbors? What do you see as the issues right now with it?
The biggest issue, and this affects the United States more than any country currently, it is job displacement.
You really think that's going to be an issue?
Is a big issue. I'm telling you, we have lost so many workers and we are about to lose all white collar jobs if we do not change the way AI is being implemented. This is not like a dream anymore, it's not fiction anymore. I mean, just last night, I'm an average coder, but last night I coded a software and I woke up and the software is ready with my agent.
Oh my
My
gosh.
agent that took me only maybe about 6 hours to develop. It coded something that could have normally taken me over 10 years to do, and I could have not done it. It could have taken hundreds of developers to do it. So, what is the initiative for somebody who wants to make money? If money is the focus, you don't want to hire people just because you want to waste money. AI is making the work so easy, but it is making so easy to replace the people. And that is a big danger. Job displacement is something that we are seeing right now, and it's going to happen at a very fast rate. How do you mitigate that? Number
That's a
one,
good question. Yeah, please tell us.
that the government need to come up with some type of guidelines how to protect people like musicians, people like artists, people who do things from the original. That nowadays you can make a music by just talking to AI. You can make a video just talking to AI. So we need to have some guidelines how to protect this important skill. Number two, our people need to stop being afraid of AI and they need to tool up. It doesn't matter if you are 99, it doesn't matter if you are just 9 months old. Anybody can learn AI no matter where they are, as long as they learn it safely. Actually, one of the programs that I'm developing right now as we speak, I'm coming up with a 2 month program that it can teach anybody who knows to speak English from zero to AI in 2 months, no matter what they have done or they have not done in their life. That's how easy it is. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning before I came to your show, and I was telling them, listen, education is dead. And this is not a joke. The old way of going to school and taking classes and preparing for the future, that is done. Right now, we need a different mindset. We have to change a different mindset. What do I mean by that? What is going to be important in the future? Our children need to be taught of integrity. This is something you cannot just create in a school environment. Our children need to be taught problem solving. Our children need to be taught skills. How do you go out and fish? How do you go out there and interact and mingle with other people? Our children need to be taught how do you play well with others? Our children need to be taught how to become a better community member, how you can give back to society. These are the critical things we need to teach. And then things like being a doctor in the future is going to change. You still need to do the practice of human anatomy, how you can treat a human being. You still need to know how to connect the wires as an electrician. You need to know how to connect the pipes as a plumber. So these practical life-saving skills are going to be more pricey in the future than anything else. But when it comes to knowledge, we are past the level where AI is smarter than all of us concerned. But the most important thing, AI is not so intelligent that it can replace human beings. No, we are the original. AI is an imitation. That is why they call it artificial. In Africa, we have this saying that says, if you have a gap, a denture doesn't fix that gap on your teeth. A denture is just there for looks, and sometimes it can be permanent for eating, but it can never really fully replace your tooth. What does that mean? As much as AI is here and it is artificial, it requires a human being. And that is why at a higher level, we have to start thinking, what guidelines are we going to put? How are we going to protect the society? How are we going to protect all these people who are losing jobs? How are we going to protect those people who are working? How can we tool them up so they don't lose their jobs? How can we make sure everybody is paid? How can we teach our children to have skills that they're going to need in the future? Because if we just leave AI to babysit and raise them up, we are in a very
Yeah,
difficult
we're in trouble.
future.
Well,
You talk-
information really doesn't make people smarter. I mean, if you really kind of look at it, we now have more access even before AI with the internet. You know, when the internet comes on, we're all part of that generation where we've come from no phones or anything to where now we have AI. And we have more information and have had more information at our fingertips than we've ever had before. But people aren't smarter. People aren't in general. I mean, you have, just because you have access to things, people aren't smarter. You're going to still need people who can communicate and who can share, because you can place all this information out there and AI will do some things, but it doesn't mean that people will be able to grasp it and use it. Does that make sense? Do
Absolutely.
you see what I'm saying? So I think maybe tell me if I'm not hearing you right on it, Enoch. What you're talking about is developing those human qualities and those skills to where, trying to figure out the equation might be easier because of AI. But people are going to have to be able to figure out how to use that and make it applicable in people's lives
Yes.
until we have
Yes.
robots and then they're going to kill
Well, I
us all.
think guide the process.
Instead of
I mean,
robots.
The robots
Yeah.
will wipe us out. Yeah, I've been watching
But
Terminator
I
last
think
night.
humans have to guide the process. I mean, somebody's got to be in charge of what decisions we're going to make and use the AI as a tool to make us faster and better. But I think you're right, Enoch. We've got to stay in the driver's seat, especially with our kids. I think that's a great point, is that we can't leave them to AI to raise them. We have to demonstrate good behavior and integrity and things like that to them. And that's something you have to show them and not tell them.
I mean, if we
Yeah.
haven't learned anything from cell phones, right? I mean, everybody has the cell phone. The kids have the cell phone. They're on it 24 hours a day. And some would argue that this generation that's coming up is the worst at communicating. And I actually saw that they're saying that the next generation, the studies are saying this is going to be the only time in history, though, where the generation of intelligence, of learning and the ability to know things, they're actually going to be less smart than the generations before. And so you go, how can that be when you have all this information afforded to you? How is this group not going to be as smart as a group before? And I think you're hitting on that. So tell us a little bit more than what do we do? I mean, so how do we manage it? How do we protect ourselves from it?
Very good question, Jeff. Actually, you just said something powerful, and I want to repeat it.
I will.
Our generation, you think by having a cell phone and having technology and having all this great access is supposed to make us smarter. Quite the opposite is happening. Since the use of ChatGPT, most people have forgotten what it means to write. Now, I remember when I was going through engineering classes in Kenya, that is back 1999, we didn't have a computer. So we had to use a mathematical table for us to do some reference in order to do chemistry, in order to do mathematics. So I had to memorize numbers in my head that were so big. But now, if you ask me what are the phone numbers of my 5 closest friends, I won't tell you because our memory has been made lazy intentionally by the algorithm. So if anybody doesn't think that they're under the influence of an algorithm, you are wrong. Why do you think our children can scroll mindlessly on the phone for the whole day and they're not getting tired? An addiction. We used to think addiction was cocaine, dope, and these other things. No, the real addiction that we are facing in our time is addiction to algorithmic programming that is being done to our children and our lives. So the big
Interesting.
question, how do we escape out of this? This is where leaders like Brent come in, leaders like Jeff come in. This talk is very important because the only way we can connect as humanity is through communication. And we need to come together and put our heads together and say, hey, we don't want to go back to the Stone Age. No, that is not going to solve. It's not going to solve. Imagine during the Civil War or during the old wars. I went to San Antonio and I heard this story about the Alamo being protected by some soldiers, and they called for help, but help came a few weeks or months later
Yeah.
when all of them had been killed, something like that. So you can imagine if it this time and the Alamo was under attack, all Donald Trump needs to do is call the Marines, and in a few seconds, there will be backup right there with the F and who knows what can go there. So we have advanced from the Stone Age. Check. We are in an explosion of knowledge. Check. Actually, one of my favorite verse in the Bible is Daniel chapter 4, verse 4, that says, in the last days, there will be an increase of knowledge. And that is where we are. Check. But most importantly, let us never forget, we are still, as Brent said earlier, in control. And we must stay in control. Let us look at 2 scenarios. Let us say somebody was walking on foot. If somebody is walking on foot, they don't need a helmet because if they fall, they can just simply, put their hands out and they will hold themselves. But imagine if somebody was riding a bicycle. Now they need a helmet because they are moving faster than somebody who's walking on foot. If they fall from the bicycle, they can hurt their head. Now move them into the car. They need a seatbelt because the car is moving faster than even the bicycle. Now move them into a jet fighter. They need an ejection seat. Just in case that jet fighter crashes, they just need to get out safely. The faster you move, the more security and safety features you must have. The downside to where we are currently, when the AI was allowed to go public, there was no enough safeguard rails that were put in place. Currently, we are in a place of struggle for survival. Who can do this the fastest? Who can do this the cheapest? We're seeing this fighting going on, but what we don't understand, our children currently, they are being raised in this place where they're exposed to everything. The AI right now can show you step by step how to make a nuclear bomb. The AI can show you how to make a cybersecurity hack. The AI right now can show you how to make an automated weapon, robots that Jeff talked about, that can actually kill people without you being involved. The AI can do great harm, but we don't have seatbelts and we don't have helmets. And what I'm suggesting that we should do, number one, when people go to medical school, there is a cardinal rule they are told: do no harm. Do no harm should be given to anybody who has power, who has access, and whose decision can affect people's lives. Do no harm. Can you imagine if you are at your dentist and they're trying to take off your tooth and then they're just drilling into your jaw? That's a bad no-no. Can you imagine if you are under an operation table and the nurse anesthesiologists, they just change the dose just a little bit that will kill a human being. So these people who have access to our lives and they have so much power, they have to have moral compass to control their brains. And the biggest medication we need for AI is not going to be an algorithm, is not going to be a law. It is going to be common sense. And common sense is not common, as we have seen. Talks
Not
like
at all.
this, they are the solution to the problem of AI. We need to have this open talk to people and let the people start developing a new culture, a culture that says, do no harm. That is number one. If we can focus on just one thing and say, do no harm. You have AI that can steal from your neighbor, do no harm. You have AI that can destroy an entire planet, do no harm. If we focus on that alone, we could have saved almost 50% of what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's a very good point because I think that people have got to use their own compass to guide them, and that's in short supply, as you say. It's something we, I think, as adults have to make sure that kids are getting. Is you're right. I think education, as we thought about it historically, is at an end, whether we like it or not. That model is probably done. I mean, I don't know exactly, but
Are you saying I should not send Sam to college next
I wouldn't
semester?
if I were you. No, he's going to tech. He'll be fine.
He'll be good. There's other things he needs to learn than school.
Exactly.
What's
Jeff,
co-
I like that question that Jeff is asking. What's going to happen with our education? Fundamentally, our education infrastructure has to change.
Yeah.
If we proceed with the current college and high school the way things are currently, it is not sustainable. Because some of these children, when they go to school, honest speaking, they just can ChatGPT their answers all the way to the degree. So now you have somebody who has a degree, but they're useless.
And they're not educated at all.
They're not educated
well,
at all.
that's my point. Is you can have information but not be educated.
And there's a
Yeah.
big difference.
There is a big difference to that. And here's the thing that maybe I think we need to consider is that when AI comes out, maybe this is because it's maybe our age, where you've known it not before. We've seen so much change in our lifetime, but it's exciting. I mean, AI, when you first start playing with it, it's
Oh,
exciting.
it's fun.
And well, like this show would never be broadcast, never be posted. None of it would ever be done because why? I now have AI. I can do it. It's
Mhm.
It's
exciting.
told us how to, and it's in the software we use.
It's told us how to. Now, it doesn't tell us how to do the show. This is kind of a perfect example. Doesn't tell us what to say. I mean, it can, but we're not going to because we don't believe in listening to other people. But we're going to do whatever we want to do. But that's the whole thing is it'll try to tell us and it'll try to say, hey, Jeff, straighten up. I'm like, no, you're AI. But the point is, if we could blend this idea of do no harm, but combine it with the energy and the excitement, because I think people get blinded by the energy and the excitement. Your brain kind of starts going, oh my gosh, I can do this. I created a fillable PDF yesterday, for instance, for something I want to use in the other business. And I created it like in an AI in, I don't know, probably 10, 15 minutes, which it would have taken forever and stuff I wouldn't have known. But if somewhere within that idea of excitement and creativity and how to utilize it, if we bring in the concept of do no harm and the boundaries, if we talk about those things kind of at the same time, because then that's what you start building, you start trying, and then all of a sudden, dude, you are into it. Like, you're like, if I can do that, I'm going to go over here and do that. Well, there needs to be that quadrant of maybe, because we can all do a lot of things, but we shouldn't do some things. You can do
Well, I think-
whatever you want to do, but there's some things you shouldn't do, even though you can do them. Does that make sense? And so we have
Absolutely.
to create that, but you can't ignore the excitement that comes with this, because then people think you don't know what you're talking about, right?
And it is thrilling to use, but the difference between people like us and young people is we're educated. We have a traditional educational background to where we know when it's wrong. We
Right.
know when it's going off track. We're like, no, that's not how that works. They don't know the difference. And so therein lies the danger is people who are younger, who don't have the education and experience that we do, they don't know when the thing is taking them into the ditch. Or like if you'll recall, Like when people first started using GPS, they were driving their car into the lake, right? This is kind of the same thing. They're taking Chat GPT and it's driving them into the lake. Well, they don't know, you know.
Well, and also, what's going to happen if you don't have if the power goes down? What happens if the grid goes
Man,
down? We talk about all these cyber attacks. We talk about all these things that could happen. But if you lose electricity for whatever reason, the problem is you've created a society that wouldn't even know how to start a fire. I
right?
mean, this
Couldn't even get
sounds
food.
stupid. I mean, but I mean, they wouldn't even know what not to burn, what to burn. I mean,
Right.
I mean, it would be kind of funny to watch somebody's over there trying to light the PVC pipe on fire. But I mean, it's crazy, you know? And so you've got to blend in this thing. We have this idea that this stuff can't go away. But I'm going to tell you, folks, if we get that virus or we have a grid or we have a solar flare and it blows out all this stuff, and if you're going to be standing there knowing not where to go to the bathroom because GPA is not going to tell you, you're going to have a problem.
Exactly.
And it's
Right.
going to be the great equalizer. And so somehow we got to get that back into society. Even if it's a backup, you got to have some stuff up there that you retain instead of like, I'm not going to think about anything but beer and tequila, but I'm going to go to the computer for everything else. You know, I just don't know.
Well, I think it's what Enoch was saying
Yeah.
earlier. We need some guideposts and some railing around this thing, or a helmet or a seatbelt to keep some reasonable processes in place and some minimal education in place for young people so that they're not completely helpless.
I
And let
think
me
we put
ask you,
Enoch
Enoch,
in charge of that. We just put him in
yeah, we
charge of it.
should.
Enoch, we need you you do the safety rails and get back to us next. He'll go into Chat GPT. How do I put in the safety rails?
But
Yeah.
you said something interesting though about plumbers and electricians. I've been telling the young people that I have exposure to that I think if you want to be safe, you need to have a job that a computer can't do. And plumbing and electrical is a great example of those things. If you can run wiring and put pipes together and put toilets in a house, you're going to be employed.
And you're going to make a lot of money.
You're gonna make a lot of money because there's nobody doing it. And I think people that can put their hands on things and fix things are gonna be in demand, which is gonna be an interesting flip back to the old
To
days when people learned skills in an apprenticeship type of format and then became valuable society. I think we're gonna have to go back to that maybe.
We are. And actually, there's nothing new. We are actually going back to the where the skills you have with your hand means more. They're more valuable than what is that you learned at school because now AI knows everything.
Right, who would have thought AI would have brought that about? I would have never seen that coming, that physical skills with your hands will be more important after AI arrives.
And by the way, before we even go far, there is one more level that we're about to get into. AI currently is still is a toddler. We are not even at the full level of like where AI can go. Now, remember, AI has been around since 1950, but now at the level it is getting perfected, the turnover is just insane. And talking about skills, I remember when I was young in Kenya. By the way, this is the flag of Kenya.
Oh,
My
yeah, I see it.
mother,
I wasn't even paying attention.
my mother told me something that you just said right now. She said, "My son, as you grow up, I want you to be able to make money with just your hands." And that is the reason why I went to Kiss School and I did power mechanics. Power mechanics is when you learn how to fix cars. Here in America, we call it auto mechanics. When I came to the United States, I became an auto mechanic because I couldn't get employed. But I
Oh, I
made
remember you
more money.
telling me that, right up.
Yeah, but I made more money using my hands than if I was employed before I joined the United States military. Talking about the military, by the way, guidelines, one of the big guidelines I wanted to highlight is the military use of artificial intelligence. And this is where now the government comes into play. Currently, I just saw that they have now made these autonomous robots that can go out there, make a decision who to kill, when to kill, and how to kill.
That's frightening.
Now imagine somebody who has some little cybersecurity intelligence hacks into that robot and it turns the code and makes it attack friendly forces. So these are the things that need to worry us. As much as it is easier, you're not exposing a human being to go out there. When you are in the heat of war, you need a human being who can be able to make a decision like, is this moral? Is this good? Can this be done?
Is that someone's
Now,
home we're going to blow up?
exactly. And now we do have some advanced technologies, for example, the ones they're using in Israel with the Iron Dome, whereby it will just read the trajectory of the incoming projectile and they engage it autonomously. There is an advantage to that. But at the same time, if you give complete control to a machine, then what are we doing? So this is where checks and balances ought and must be put in place.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I hadn't even thought about the implications of using it in the military because you're right. Those drones and those robot soldiers could be turned against you very easily.
I'm not happy now. Where's all the laughing?
You're like, damn. I
Hi.
didn't even think about that.
I gotta go. Well,
All
thanks
right,
for
so-
tuning in, everybody.
Yeah. So, all right.
It's over.
Enoch, we're running to the end of the time. Let's wrap this thing up somehow. Where do you think these seatbelts and guardrails, is this a government thing? Is
No.
this people thing that we need to do ourselves with our kids? Where
No.
do we go with this?
It is going to be a layered approach, in my own opinion. It has to be a layered approach. Number one, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You and Jeff, you're making noise about it. You are pointing the light that this is something that can harm us. So people are listening. Your listeners are watching. The word is going to start spreading. So this is the first line of defense, according to me, is people need to be informed. Whenever you tell people of real dangers, for example, how do we know that the radioactive is bad? Because somebody told us. And to me, one of the greatest dangers that we can have in this world is a nuclear war. And another danger that we can have is a nuclear war that is being controlled by AI.
Oh,
so now
boy.
you have two powerful things that can do so much damage. And if you can't control both of them, we will be in trouble. In my entire life as an engineer, when I was studying, one of the hardest systems to perfect in engineering, for example, at SpaceX, it is control systems. If you don't have control systems correctly, you're going to explode before you even launch the rocket to space. That is why in every vehicle, if you run out of gas, you're going to stop. Nothing happens. But if your brakes fail, you will not stop until you have done some damage. So it's better we run out of gas because eventually we're going to stop and be safe. But if we run out of brakes, and brakes for me is controls, if we don't have controls in place, we are in deep trouble because that means we have given control to somebody who's not human being. So how can we do this in a layered approach? Let's start at the highest level. At the highest level, in my own opinion, the United States of America has to be the big boy in the room. You can never allow AI to be without a leader, a global leader. That's what I mean. I'm not saying that China is bad, Iran is bad, whatnot. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need the United States at the very spearhead of leading the AI safety in the globe. Why? It has the power, it has the reach, it has the resources, it has the people to do that. Number two, we need a global AI agency. Just like we had a global nuclear agency, AI is more dangerous than even nuclear because it can make the nucleus to go off. So we need an AI global agency whereby it can set global boundaries of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Number three, leaders in the community. And this is where we come now to Congress, the government, and all that. They need to be educated of what are the true dangers of AI. And they need to implement some type of safety for our people. This is the critical one. This is the most important part I'm about to say. There is people that I call the AI gods. Who is an AI god? In my own opinion, anybody right now who can say, hello world, he is an AI god. So those are people who can be programmers, they can be coders. These are the owners of NVIDIA, for example, the CEO of NVIDIA, the CEO of Meta, Microsoft. the Tesla, like all these big giant Google, all these big giant presidents, they all need to come together and make a one agreement
To do no harm.
to do no harm. And then they need to check each other because they're too strong for a regular person like me and you to harm them.
Or even a government. They
The
can't
government
control
can't
them
even
either.
touch them because they're stronger. NVIDIA today is 5 trillion worth. It's so strong. So if they can govern themselves, it is going to be one of the very thing. And then two more, then I'm done. The parents have to learn how to parent with AI. This is not a place where we just say, oh, AI, is a boogeyman. We need to be afraid of it. No. Parenting with AI in our generation is going to be the top skill that we all need. When do we regulate screen time? Because you can't tell your children don't play with AI. No, that's bad because then they're going to be left behind. So the parenting has to be scheduled to be able to adopt our children for the future. And then the children, after that, they need to listen and adopt the new system. And lastly, lovers, the people, it is our responsibility. If we can build a culture that respects AI and it treats it with care, the same way we respected electricity. When electricity came, people were being electrocuted because they were touching it. But now we all respect the electricity and nobody gets killed. But it helps us to power our homes. When the nuclear reactors came, people were getting exposed to radiations. We don't do that because people are aware. And how do you make people aware? Through podcasts and education like this. And this is what we need to be doing.
That's great stuff, man.
I'm loving it. Risk
That's
Raiders is leading. We're
outstanding.
saving the world.
Yeah,
I think that's worth a subscription. What do you think there, Brent? Subscribers like us on.
Yeah, subscribe and like. That's amazing stuff,
Great
man.
stuff,
I knew it
Enoch.
was going to be good having you on today because
Dude.
I know you know a lot about it, and man, you've made some excellent points that I'm going to be thinking about all day and all week and all month that are just kind of burning into your brain. You're like, wow, this is really, the seatbelt thing is what is right is we've got to be careful. We're going very fast down a rocky road and man, we could end up in the ditch and boy.
Well, I've learned a lot. Today has been a great day. I feel like I've learned a lot. I'm a little bit, I guess I'm a little unsettled, but that's good.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean, though? I mean, because you go, yeah, you kind of do have to think about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Enoch's made us so aware, you know, you look at it globally, but then you have to look at it personally, too, your role in it, whether it gets down to as a parent, a business owner, or however, we all have a responsibility. We just can't always blame it on the other guy because, you know, you can control what you do. So I think it's been so impressive of what you've shared with us today. And it means a lot. And I'm excited and I'm just going to turn off the computer. I'm going to go fix my toilet, and then I'm going to go.
I tell you, it's been a great having
show.
you on, and we're going to have you on again at some point because we're going to need an update about where we are.
Yeah, I'll wait for my AI to say, you need to have Enoch back on. And I'm like,
our programmer will probably be like, it's time to have Enoch on again.
Remind me to put that on my calendar.
Thanks for coming on, and thank you for being my brother and teaching me how to be happier in life. I appreciate that so much, and it's been a great show. Everyone have a great holiday weekend, and thank you, Enoch. I forgot to tell you, Jeff, he's a veteran.
Thank you for your service, Enoch.
Thank him for his service.
Thank you, Jeff.
And we got Memorial Day coming up. We've put out all our Rotary flags. We put out our, about 1,200 flags in the city of Bel Air now for Memorial Day, and it's exciting.
Well, and by the time this show has showing, you had the special Memorial Day show that we launched. So I hope.
Yes, that's right.
Well, first of all, we hope you enjoyed it. Second of all, we're sorry.
Anyway, so everyone have a great holiday weekend, and we will see everyone next week. Enoch, I will see you later. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Enoch. Nice to see you, buddy.
And guns up, baby.
Guns up. Boom.
Guns up. See y'all.